Hello, Orlando, Florida, and everybody in between. We are continuing our day with the most awesome, beautiful,
Aw.
strong, talented. I'm going to say it all because I watch you move through the city and help support and make decisions. And I think this is so awesome that you're taking this next stop. So,
Thank you so much.
um, welcome, Roberta Walton Johnson, to our platform, y'all. We got her in the house, and this is about to be an interview y'all don't want to miss. So grab your popcorn, grab your drinks, and come on, sit down, okay? Also, we want to thank our sponsor, Southern Style Barbecue, who has made all of this possible by promoting, producing, and taking care of all of the expenses for the day. He's located 4890 Edgewater Drive, right on the corner of the Lee and Edgewater. So y'all check him out on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Okay, now
Absolutely.
we had to get that out of the way.
Yes. I'm taking notes. I love
Yes,
barbecue.
me too. Okay, so now you are currently served as general counsel for Orange County Clerk of Court. You've worked in the clerk's office for years.
Mhm.
You're a Florida attorney in good standing
Yes.
and campaigning on experience, access to justice, technology,
Yes.
records, integrity, and accountability.
Yes.
That's what I got.
Yes.
Okay. Um, but a major issue surfaced during the campaign
Mhm.
reporting decades of old junk.
Mhm.
Okay, and
Noise.
why is old junk always
Noise.
come up when you're trying to do something new?
Right.
And that's been the number one question that people are sending me. Hey, ask about that, and I'm
Right.
like,
No, and that's
old
good.
junk
Yeah.
always comes up
Mhm.
when we're doing good work.
And you know what? It is. It's one of those moments where you really say, seriously? I'm 52 years old, and we're talking about something that happened when I was in college, the tender age of 20.
Mm.
Um, now, certainly, I've been accountable for it,
Yes.
and I've done everything needed to press beyond it. But in my early years, yes, I'm the first person in my family to leave home and go off to a university
Awesome.
to graduate. And so I went up to the highest of Seven Hills in Tallahassee
Yes.
and met a lot of people, a lot of young men.
Okay.
And so sometimes you do, and I say this because right now a lot of families are dropping their children off to
Mhm.
go off away from home for the first time to college.
Mhm.
Talk to them.
Mhm.
It takes an eighth of a second
Yeah.
to make a decision that
Yeah.
literally will impact their entire life.
Yes.
Because here we are today,
Mhm.
32 years forward,
Mhm.
a complete record of service, having a conversation about an eighth of a second decision that I made to cash some checks for a guy that I
We be
knew.
doing crazy
We
stuff
be
for
doing
guys.
crazy stuff. It's horrible, and I'm not laughing because it is a serious matter.
Yes.
But I was a bank teller,
Okay.
and I worked for Nations Bank at the time in Tallahassee. I was so proud. I still worked my part-time job at Winn Dixie, which is where I knew him from.
Okay.
But throughout the week, I was a bank teller, and I worked the drive-through. I was pretty proud of it, and he did take advantage of knowing that about me.
Mhm.
And he, every time he saw me, hey, I promise you, nothing's gonna happen. And I can't even tell you where my mind was at 20
Yeah.
today. Fast forward, I have children that far beyond that age. And so I'm sitting here. I said yes. I let him come through a couple of times, a couple of different times through my drive-through. Gave him what I cashed, the money,
Right.
and he made lots of promises. And ultimately, he did give me something that I turned around and gave to the authorities.
Okay.
But that said, um, I really didn't even understand the legal system at the time. I was
Right.
pretty green.
Right.
I'm from the Panhandle of Florida, and um, they basically I learned that I was really the break
Mhm.
in what eventually came to be known to me as a three-state check scam.
Wow.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was the initial break, and I tell you, it happened when I was 20. I got adjudicated several years later. I got a call after working several nonprofits, owning a home, had a small child, and really a community advocate in the Big Bend area. And I got a call 4 years and 8 months later.
Wow.
Statutory limitations to
Right
press
at the time.
charges was 5 years.
Wow.
And I got the call saying, we're not going to be able to let this fall by the wayside. We appreciate all of the help that you contributed to helping us get down to the bottom of it. And they told me, this is what we found. And here are the key players, of which I knew none of them.
Right.
And so I did. I was sent a notice of hearing. I went to court, and I ended up getting probation and joint restitution with 11 other people that I'd never seen before in my life.
Right.
And so I stood there and I was chastised. Even the prosecutor told my parents. He said, when I met your daughter, I called my own daughter in Gainesville and said, you better not be up there doing anything stupid. Because that's what happens when you're young.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty proud that I was able to press forward, and my family made huge sacrifices to pay the entire amount of the restitution so that I can pick up and move on with my life. And that's exactly what I did. As you know, I went off to law school thereafter, passed the bar the first time, and was accepted as a member of the Florida Bar.
You know, you said something very important, you know, because we are back to school and
Right.
parents are
Please
dropping
talk
their
to your
kids off.
kids.
You know, for me, just being a young mom and a person that at 19 years old got arrested,
Yes.
you know, that followed me a couple of times
It
when I
did.
was looking to get a job.
Mhm.
And that's one of the reasons that said, you know what, I want to work for myself. But what's heartbreaking to me, even again, being a young mom, is when your past for 20
Gosh.
years ago,
Yes.
when you're not the same person that you are now, could affect what your goals
It
are.
will, and so that's why it's so incredibly important for us to mentor
Yes.
and for us to talk to our own children and in our own villages. But you're right, and I feel like what message does that send to someone who is trying to start over?
Yeah.
Someone,
Second chances.
Someone who literally just left the courtroom or just left, you know, the and they're returning citizens.
Yeah.
What message are we really sending to the community about redemption?
Right.
About your ability in this land that we call free, in your ability to be able to pick up and start anew.
Right.
And so for me, I was able to move on with my life, quite frankly, before they even pressed charges against me. And I did that under this, you know, hey, I hadn't heard anything in all these years. Maybe it just went away, right? I promised, made some key promises. You'll never have to worry about me again, sir. And for that, I'll tell you too, because I've never seen a jail cell. I've never been handcuffed, any of that. This was
But
my
people
story.
will put you behind bars and make you
I
look like you was there already.
Listen, I had stripes on according to people. I robbed the bank.
I
You
mean,
know,
I mean,
I'm like,
we talk about it, you know, candidly
Yeah.
and you know, with a little smile, but at the
Yeah,
same time,
I'm healed.
we
so.
feel that, you
Yeah.
know.
It took a long time for me to be healed.
Okay.
Every now and then, you know, it still hits me, and I think it hits me because of the impact of what message we're sending this community.
Right.
But I will tell you, there was for several years I did hide in shame. I was, and when I say hide in shame, I want to be perfectly clear with your audience. Anybody who needed to know about what happened to me was told. It was the topic of my essay when I got accepted to law school about this process. And so any job I've ever gone on, whether it came back on a screening because it happened so long ago or not, I was very forthright. But with people, right, in the community, I was fearful for a long time that someone would judge me, right? Someone would look down at me. And if I did have to talk about it, I couldn't do so without just having an emotional breakdown.
Yeah.
But today at 52,
Yes.
I'm very healed,
Okay.
very delivered.
Yes.
And my story is not a story that I should be ashamed of.
Right.
my story is a story that, quite frankly, many people need to hear. I did a commencement speech for one of the local private colleges, sharing my story because people need to hear a story of redemption because they need to feel like it is possible for you to make a mistake and carry forward with your life.
Agreed.
Don't let something that happened to you at 19 or 20 hold you back from being a productive advocate, from being a public official, from being anything that you want.
Right. Yes.
In one of the chamber interviews, a local attorney, he asked me, he said, I gotta ask you this. He said, it was time for me to go to law school, people had me so scared about every bounce check, every traffic citation. I was so nervous about what they would find. What made you courageous enough to say, I'm going to law school and I'm going to practice law?
Because you know that anything that happens in the past always comes back up. I was taught that, so you knew at some point it would come back up.
I knew it would come back up, but God, right? Yes. And he has carried me through each of these procedural processes. And I responded to that gentleman. I said, I'm going to tell you, sir, certainly my family, everybody around me, because I had a wonderful career in Tallahassee. Was like, oh, don't quit your job. Don't start over just because you want more, because you have this blemish, right? And I said, I couldn't find anywhere that said I couldn't.
That's right.
I looked everywhere that said, well, does it say I can?
Right.
And so I did.
Yes.
And so at this point, this is coming up as alarming news. I have worked at the Orange County Clerk of Courts, among the brightest attorneys, among significant judicial ambassadors, and elected officials, right? I've worked on the 5th floor at Orange County Administration, and there's not been a question about my credibility, my integrity, whether or not I'm work hard, whether or not I'm intelligent, capable, you name it.
Yes.
But now we politicize this redemption story. And now we call me not qualified. That, to me, I am really offended. And if I had any respect for you, I no longer do.
Yes.
Because where's the equity in that?
Right. Right.
Where's the equity in that?
Right. So you are currently working in the clerk's office, and I know some of the questions have been bonding. What is it about the bonding?
Oh, I'm so happy you came with that.
And can you open that up and tell me, is it just hype that people are talking about? You can't get bonded. Like, I don't think you would be going this far knowing that you can't finish the race. Well, so answer that for us about bonding.
First of all, that is a fear tactic.
Okay.
That is being placed in the hearts and the minds of voters. Okay. And quite frankly, I think it's illegal. I really think it's borderline defamation, because you are creating this myth about what could be or what might happen, or right? Okay. And you're staying just above lying.
Okay.
But I call that deceit. And so that is a lie. So again, I am a practicing attorney, so
good standing.
Yes. And so I typically come with evidence.
Okay,
right?
I like it. That's what attorneys do. She got her paperwork.
I got evidence,
yes.
Right? And I'm not reading ChatGPT trying to figure out what we do at the clerk's office.
Right.
I just brought evidence.
Yes.
Right. And so with evidence, they would have you believe that question number 1 on this traveler's application, right?
Yes.
And so I enter this into evidence. They'll have you believe that it says one thing, and it only asks about whether or not you have a criminal background, right?
Right.
But this is 1A, B, C, D, and E.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
So yes, admittedly, I do have to check yes for C. but it is a no for all of the rest of them. And nothing on this application says that you are precluded,
Right.
right? Because this is a public official bond and it's for your performance once you are in office. It's taking care of each of you as the voters, right?
Right.
It's covering me. And that's
Right.
why you got insurance over
Yes.
your house?
Yes, ma'am.
It's covering me.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean you're going to stop the burglars, but
Right.
you are covered.
Right.
That's what this is. And so it asks that question just because most applications do. I wish they didn't, right? Because it's stopping a lot of people from moving forward.
Yes.
But it does. But then what else does it say? And I'm going to read here. Have you had any lawsuits or judgments against you? Okay, so no.
No.
But
Okay.
somebody else might have to say yes. Okay.
Okay.
Have you ever failed in business or declared bankruptcy? I don't know that to be true for them. I don't. It was sold out there that I have a bankruptcy too. That was the last little gimmick. No, I do not. I was in the middle of a divorce and I was going to get rid of my marital home and I short sold it and did. But I don't have a bankruptcy judgment for the record. And so, ever been convicted? We took care of that one. Ever had their license suspended, revoked, or denied, or been subject to any legal or administrative proceeding resulting in a disciplinary action? Yeah, that's a no for me.
Okay.
But ever been party to a surety bond claim? Meaning, have you ever served in public office and been sued or have somebody lay a claim against your surety bond, your public official surety bond?
Okay.
Somebody might need to go get those records,
Okay.
right? Because I'm busy talking about me being qualified.
Yes.
And so these are
Those
legitimate
are
questions
that travelers and any bond company ask, but
these
doesn't
are legitimate.
prevent you.
It doesn't prevent you.
Okay.
And so I'll go on record and say, I'm a member of a lot of different boards and in a lot of different organizations. I've been president of, even my local sorority. And when you get to the executive team and you are president, treasurer, you name it for these organizations, you also have to be bonded.
Right.
I've been bonded,
Okay.
right? I've served in other capacities.
Yes.
So to say I can't because you are trying to pull something from the dark ages of when I was 20 is again selling voters this myth, right? That's also like, oh well, can't you see how this could have been stated? Well, she can't actually practice law, right?
Right.
She'll never make it into the Florida bar, but I have.
But you have. Yes.
Yeah. Don't do that because that's mis and disinformation.
Yes.
And if you're going to share something and you want to at least say you have a little smidget of integrity, you would give people correct information.
Well, like you said when you walked in, the campaign should really be about the work.
It really should.
Can you do the job?
Can you do the job?
We had to get that out of the way because I had so many
That's okay. I'll leave that
questions that said, ask that question. Okay. So you already work in the clerk's office.
Yes.
Okay. What do you feel is broken or outdated right now that you would change becoming clerk?
So that's a great question. And because I am a part of the senior executive team today, helping to make decisions about what's happening and how we operate and how we administrate, I would say I would start with our technology.
Okay.
But we are working on that right now.
Okay.
I also lead with our starting pay.
Okay.
And that's also something that we're working
on. Okay.
One key thing about the clerk of court is there are 66 other clerk of courts throughout the state of Florida, right? We are a constitutional office, and all of our powers come through the Florida Constitution. And so we belong to this county, right? These county officers belong to this county. But the clerk is unique because the clerk is not just like the property appraiser or the tax collector who are all executive in nature, we're part of the judicial branch of government.
Okay.
And we're funded differently. How we're funded at the clerk's office is we're self-funded. We're funded by the fines and fees that we collect for the most part. Um, and technology is funded separately in a separate bucket through recording fees. And so we're so restricted in how we are funded. It is taking us some time because of our funding model to try to become more competitive when it comes to our starting pay and to also increase our technology personnel,
Okay.
right, in technology applications to ensure that we are safeguarding your records,
Right.
to ensure also that we are taking advantage of some of these other technology procedural systems like AI and artificial intelligence and how it captures data, right? Because we are a huge data engine when it comes to court data, and we're responsible for sending that up to the state so that they can monitor and measure and create policy as it relates to our judicial needs.
So, and that has also been another question that continues coming up. AI is taking over, and some people fear it takes jobs away. What would you tell a person, in the office, that you're already working with? What's going to happen when you step in and start bringing in new technology? Will the jobs be diminished?
No,
or okay.
absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I feel like it will help us amplify the roles that we have, right? To use them in other avenues so that we can have um, additional skills, right? To add unto this body. But in addition to that, I kind of feel like AI is supplemental. AI should be utilized for systems purposes,
Okay.
right? To help us streamline our data. I don't know about you, but for me, I can draft a sentence, right? And I'm not going to be removed from that process. You're a writer. I'm going to write a paragraph.
Yes.
I might take that paragraph and place it in AI and see if they word it
Right.
better than I did.
Right.
That doesn't replace me.
Right.
Right? That streamlines helps me what?
Grow and
it helps me grow.
Yes.
It kind of, oh, okay, I would have never used that term, right? In this paragraph. Oh, it said it, it tweaked it, and it made it better. So let's look at AI as an enhancement tool,
Okay.
not a replacement of a person.
Okay.
We can't be replaced.
Okay.
And what the clerk's office does is we not only help administrate justice along with our judicial stakeholders, but we're also out here making sure that people are connected to the courts.
And a lot of people don't realize what you do.
I know.
How much responsibility
It's a lot.
is on your shoulders.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you have, bad complaints. Like, I've heard through the campaign that the Clerk of Courts is a 1-star or a 2-star. I know with being an entrepreneur, there are times where some things aren't right all the time. What is your, how would you describe the rating that currently the Clerk of Court has?
Well, first of all, I can't describe a Google rating when you're talking about a government agency.
Okay.
I actually think that's a ploy.
Okay.
And not a very sophisticated one, might I add. Okay. There's data that probably could be requested to make some determinations, but I don't think you can get that through a Google review. We're talking about a government agency that I just told you what the role of this agency is. It comes to the Florida Constitution. What I didn't say is the clerk's office is also ministerial in nature. And when I say ministerial, it means we don't really make independent decisions on our own. We come up with procedural processes, but the role of the clerk is codified in statute, in court rule, in court orders, and in administrative orders issued by the chief judges.
Okay.
And so we operate based on those rules. And guess what? Everybody's not going to be happy
Right. Yes.
when we are following the rules. I say that, and so think about it. Who's happy to come to the clerk's office?
Right.
The only time you're happy is you're getting a passport or a
Right.
marriage license or sometimes a divorce.
But sometimes they already in a bad
Right?
mood, right?
You don't come to the clerk's office. You don't come to the courthouse, period, beaming with joy in your heart on most occasions.
Right.
And so, and those people who do walk away happy, and we have quite a few people who stopped me along this campaign trail and said, I had a great experience, right? But those aren't the ones who stop on Google, right? It's you're angry,
You're emotional,
and you're emotional, and you're hurt. And so I think that that's also misleading.
Okay.
With just walking around with a poster board, a sign with Google reviews. How about you get some concrete data?
Right.
And you probably would know that if you kind of knew what we did
Right.
and understood us functionally as an agency.
Okay.
And so I think that's you have to start there. It's not, and I'm not saying we don't mess up. We do. We absolutely
Well, we're
do.
human.
We're human. But we just talked about the starting wage
Right.
of an entry level deputy clerk today is $17.15. It's not a lot of money.
Right.
And so when we are out here competing for the best of the best to come do our work, and with great people that work at the clerk's office, don't get me wrong, but you also have a lot of people who say, you know what, I didn't get paid to take your abuse. I don't get paid to take your abuse. And when people are emotional and they're in crisis, they come in and they come in attacking, or they come in expecting you to know. Our retention rates have been revolving over the last few years, but we are now kind of settling at, people are sticking and staying, and we're also working on increasing that living wage.
I've noticed that you have been endorsed by the current clerk of courts, Tiffany Moore Russell.
Yes.
And I feel like the current clerk has endorsed you. So some voters may see it as proof as you're prepared already.
Right.
Others may see it as an establishment of choosing her successor. Which do you think it is?
I think the current clerk, we should all have a large amount of respect for her.
Yes.
And we all watched it play out. She is stepping down effective August 31st to give voters an opportunity to choose the best person for the clerk. So when we talk about her naming her successor,
yes,
she's actually turning that over to the voters.
Yes.
Okay. And so she is literally walking away from a job that she could otherwise have kept and allowed a gubernatorial appointment of which some other people are doing. Right. Okay. And so she chose not to do that. Okay. She had enough respect for Orange County voters to give them an opportunity. But no, she did say, but I know the job because I've been doing it. And I'm telling you, she's the best person for the role. But she didn't say it in a vacuum. Okay. Our state attorney, who's not on anybody's ballot, also came forward. She's endorsing. Our public defender also has come forward. We have our property appraiser who's come forward. We have 2 state senators, Senator LaVon Bracy Davis, very well respected, and Senator Carlos Guillermo Smith, also equally respected. 2 sides of the county, right? And this is a large county. Both, everyone agrees. You have our county seat, the city of Orlando's mayor, the longest standing elected official that we have here locally right now, Buddy Dyer, who's come forward. We have our retired chief judge, Chief Fred Lawton, for the Ninth Judicial Circuit, who also came forward, both him and his wife, community advocate Shelley Lawton, and said she is the best person for the job. Retired comptroller, Martha Haney. So this isn't just in a vacuum.
It's trusted leaders.
This is a list of trusted leaders who I've worked with in numerous capacities who've come forward and said, she's the best person for the job. I have two organizations who did fair interviews across the board with every candidate for clerk and then made a selection that she's the best. Unlike some of these other organizations whom I'm still waiting on their phone call to give me an opportunity to make my case.
You know, what I love is that you're there and you're doing the work right
Absolutely.
now. Tell me about a time where you had to tell someone in power in government no because law and ethics just it wasn't required.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Okay.
Every day. A part of my role as general counsel for the Orange County Clerk of Court is I'm also in charge of public records on behalf of the agency.
Okay.
And people in power sometimes want their records to be sealed.
Okay.
But the law doesn't say they should be sealed. There's been quite a few times I've had to say, unfortunately, there's nothing I can do. If you want to see something different, if you like for your personal records, you know, you're going through a divorce, you got, you know, some of these judges got traffic citations, and you say, hey, I'm a judge. That shouldn't be out there, right? Their address, not necessarily, but their name.
It's public information.
It's still public information. And I get those calls saying, hey, Roberta, is there anything you could do? Unfortunately, it's not. What I can do is I can see your emotion. You already know that.
Right.
You can always take this up with the courts. And you know, I take huge hits sometimes because these are people that I respect, that are in leadership. But guess what? Integrity does matter, and the law matters, and the understanding of the law certainly matters in a role that is literally everything we do is codified in law, statute, or court rule.
I respect that. So when people without attorneys walk into the courthouse confused, intimidated, overwhelmed, what would actually change under your leadership for the person who can't afford an attorney?
So, you know, I've worked at the clerk's office for more than a decade now. But I came there in 2015 to open up what is known as the Lydia Gardner Self-Help Center. I was recruited, tapped on the shoulder because of my background. When I kicked off my legal career, I started at Legal Services of Mid-Florida, Community Legal Services of Mid-Florida. And so that's how I, you know, started my legal career, helping the most vulnerable of our population. When we talk about, you know, going to people's houses after hours, right? Making sure that they knew exactly how to fight for their benefits. In their housing and their vouchers and things of that nature. And then I left to go to Orange County government for 8 years. But in 2015, I came to the clerk's office to open up the Self-Help Center because of my background in legal services and my constituency work at the county. And that center is dedicated to self-represented litigants. It is a center that has resources, guidance. We enacted a partnership with Orange County Bar Association to provide attorneys to give you legal advice and information about how to represent yourself in court. The attorneys don't represent you; they give you the guidance and they help you with the tools for $1 a minute.
Wow!
Right? Also put together packets, checklists. They're a fully staffed deputy clerks that are trained to deal with individuals who are self-represented litigants. And we partner with other organizations to make sure that those resources are there for somebody who's trying to represent themselves for a quality of life matter. Now, certainly it doesn't cover all case types, but it does cover those things that impact your stability.
Okay. Would you support using artificial intelligence in that self-help center?
I would absolutely support helping to streamline, so using AI to help streamline our procedural processes, I would support having excuse me, having some online tools,
Okay.
some DIY tools online to help supplement what we're doing in person at the
Okay.
Self Help Center. Because, and what I shared with someone today, because I get phone calls all the time from people saying, "Hey, I see you running. This is what I would love to see." And I started taking notes
Mm-hmm.
like over a year ago. How can we get better? I
Right.
want us to be better. But things like right now, when you do your taxes, you go buy TurboTax,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that TurboTax software doesn't communicate with you as a consumer in the same way that it communicates with the IRS. If you're
Right.
dealing with the IRS directly, they ask you some ludicrous questions like you're like, what are you talking about? But TurboTax has brought it into layman's terms
Mm-hmm.
so that when the question comes through, you can answer the question and how it comes out on that form
Mm-hmm.
is ready for IRS.
Yes.
And that is something that we have tons of applications out there, thanks to AI,
Okay.
to help people like understand it from their perspective as a layman and not a legal man,
Mm-hmm.
but then making sure that they can communicate with the courts effectively in that way. So many people is like, you know what? I wrote the judge a letter. Well, judges don't read letters.
Okay.
And if you're going to represent yourself, you have to speak to the courts in a way that they can hear,
Yes.
in the way that they talk, in the way that they understand it.
Is there anything you plan to do to make that an easier process? Like you were just saying, people are asking you what changes and what notes that you're doing.
Yes.
So, what are some of the first things?
So first of all, I need people to understand we're working really, really hard right now. But we got to do this again in 2028,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because this election is only to complete the 2 years remaining on Clerk Russell's term.
Okay.
So for these, my focus is for these next 2 years is to include a multilingual navigator program.
Okay.
Why? Because we are growing by leaps and bounds here. Okay, and this is one of the fastest growing corridors in the country. And so, given that we're diverse,
Yes.
and but everybody still has a right to access the courts.
Right.
And so a multilingual navigator program would be also a supplemental program to our self-help center to help people if English is not their first language,
Mm-hmm.
to help navigate the procedural process so that you can have your day in court.
Yes.
It's not an interpreter moment, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's a navigator moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because from an interpreter perspective, I tell you right now, that's actually the responsibility for um, due process cases, meaning those cases where your life and your liberty are on the line. That's a responsibility of court administration,
Okay.
according to statute.
Okay.
The clerk's office right now, we do our best to try to help people when they come through the door and they don't understand English and everything is in English. And so this program would help navigate that process and help us kind of also supplement our tools and our resources where we see fit to make sure that everybody, and I'm going to start with Spanish and Creole because those are the two that I see that as an alarming issue in those respective cultural communities.
Okay.
So that's one. The other thing is, what do you think my inbox is always right?
Right.
People who forget to what? Pay a fee.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they find out, hopefully not on the side of the road with a law enforcement officer,
Mm-hmm.
but you find out my license is suspended.
Mm.
Right? I just had a birthday. I'm a Memorial Day baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, I had to go to the bank to get some money out.
Mm-hmm.
And the bank teller said, well, do you have another ID? Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe a passport? I said, why do I need another ID? It's just, she said, did you just, oh, I see it here. You just had a birthday this week.
Mm-hmm.
My license. I was like, oh my God, I can't.
I know about that
Right?
personally.
Right? Most people know about that personally.
Yes.
We don't want to subject our young people. We don't want to subject ourselves, our livelihood, our credentials, you name it, to that. So I plan to put together an SMS text messaging and a postcard notification program. Put that in place to give you self taps, gentle reminders. You have an obligation. Make sure you meet it. Otherwise, it's going to take it from this amount to this amount. Otherwise, your license is going to be suspended. This is when we have to send it up to the state. So people receive those little gentle reminders and notices. We're going through an affordability crisis, and we want to make sure that it doesn't take much to help people not have to be bogged down with thousands and thousands of dollars of fines and fees that they could have over $100 ticket.
Right. Do you see that being a weakness in the clerk office now of not having reminders when fines come up?
Um, I see it as being an opportunity to grow.
Okay.
Not so much a weakness. It's an opportunity to grow.
Okay.
It's in we've talked about it before, and we've seen we do send certain notifications, but it's we got to meet people where they are. We talked about talking to the court in the way that they understand.
Yes.
We have to also do that with the community.
Yes. There is voters watching out there that who believes in second chances, but also believes in public officials should be held at the highest possible standard. If you look directly in that camera, what would you tell that voter with your past that should not disqualify you? Why would you say they should earn that they should trust you?
And so I'm going to look at the camera. I would like for people to stop saying your past. Okay.
Yes.
Yesterday was past.
Yes.
Right. The last more than a decade that I've served in leadership at the Orange County Clerk of Court was past. All of my years of service, my tenure is all past. That was a decision, a youthful decision that was made, and I was accountable for it. Right? All people who make decisions, youthful decisions, maybe not the best decisions, everybody wasn't called to the carpet like I was. Right? Everybody, I can tell you, when he was asking me to cash those checks, the first thing he said to convince me is, hey, I've talked to other people too, and none of them got in trouble. Right? Today, none of them still got in trouble. I was that one. It only takes one.
It only takes one.
So I would say, don't hold me to a standard that you can't sustain yourself.
Yes.
Everyone has told a little blind lie, cheated on your taxes. Everybody, you rocked through that stop sign and didn't come to a complete stop. Everyone has had that moment where, if caught, it could have led to something else.
Right.
So don't hold people to a standard. I need you to look at someone's full record of service. I need for you to really look globally at an individual, because we have got to stop being such a judgmental country. Because you can't hold somebody hostage to a standard that you can't even sustain yourself. That's irresponsible, and it's just not fair. And when you talk about fairness and equity, we hear people over and over again spewing out, I want to be treated fairly. That wasn't fair, and that's not right. Well, this isn't either, by the way. And so when I say, if you want to look at me globally, I think you need to look past what occurred when I was 20.
Yes. So let's talk about the present as we close out. Let's talk about presently where you are right now.
Absolutely.
Why do they need to vote for you? Why are you the best candidate?
So I feel like I'm the best candidate. I talked to you at length about the role of the clerk. That is quite a complex role to hold, and the office itself is quite complex. From the way we're funded, the number of judicial stakeholders or community stakeholders that we are accountable to, the fact that we are a court data repository and the responsibilities surrounding that, all of the laws, the court rules, the statutes that we're all subject to, that all weighs on the shoulders of the individual that this community elects. And when this audience gets their ballot, if they've not already voted, or if they're sitting there looking at a vote by mail ballot at home right now, if they're planning to go vote early before uh, early voting ends on Sunday, August 16th, or if they're planning to vote on election day, August 18th, there's only one candidate on the ballot that is a licensed attorney asking to be your clerk of court. And I'll pause with that. There's one individual on their ballot with any clerk administrative or court operational experience asking to serve as the next clerk of court. And there's only one individual that has been tapped by your local trusted leaders, those you already elected, and said she is the best candidate to serve as the next Orange County Clerk of Court. So I ask your voters, I ask your audience, please go to voteroberta.com. Please review my tenure of service. Please review my credentials. And when you get your ballot, vote early or on election day, please select Roberta Walton Johnson as your next Orange County Clerk of Court.
And listen, y'all heard it right here through the Tailgate candidate interview. This was hot. Like, let me tell you, y'all feel the smoke out there coming from the stage? Any questions before we close out today? It looks like you said you laid the lowdown.
Listen, and again, I'll say, there are a lot of people on here. We want answers. We want answers, Roberta.
Yes.
Johnson to justice at gmail.com. Ask me a question. Give me a call. Okay. Mm-hmm. My number is also on the website. Call me. Don't politicize the gateway for people to be able to access the courts. And that's what that is.
Yes. So you all, thank you so much again for tuning in. I am closing out with Roberta Walton Johnson. Y'all make sure y'all go to her website if you have any other questions.
Absolutely.
Okay, if you are unsure before you cast a vote, she has laid the phone number out. She has told you how to get in touch with her. So make sure you vote and you are informed about who will be our next clerk of court.
Absolutely.
You know, as we close out again, thank you to Southern Style Barbecue, located at 4890 Edgewater Drive, for enforcing and allowing and editing and supporting this whole mission with IBA Success Magazine. We'll see you in a moment with our final candidate of the day.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. You're welcome.